What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to Comic Breakdown. I hope you guys are ready for today because we got some heavy hitters coming at ya. We're starting the day off with Venom War Spider-Man issue number 1. This story is tying in directly to Venom War Part 1. And to keep things rolling, we have the next issue of Venom that also covers really the origins of Dylan Brock from the future. And to end the day, we're gonna hop over to DC Comics because one banger of an issue just came out, DC versus Vampires World War V, picking up directly where we had left off, and man, it is fantastic. But getting back to Spider-Man Venom War, if you guys haven't been keeping up with what's been happening with Venom, I highly recommend you check out my playlist. I have been covering this series since issue number 1. We got every single issue in there, covering every single story arc that has led up to where we are. But the gist of it, Eddie Brock becoming the King in Black is so much more than we ever thought. He becomes what is known as the eventuality, a point in place where many Eddie Brocks will eventually become, but not all. But the role of the King in Black itself, it is said to be the opposite of the Beyonders, the unbeyonder, if you will. But the Eddie Brock of 616 and the Dylan Brock of 616, they have both been to the eventuality. They have both been granted 5 questions. And in these questions, each of them learns that the other is responsible for the end of the world, with Eddie saying that he needs his other, that he needs Venom. Dylan doesn't have Venom. Venom took off, and he went back to something familiar. He went back to Peter Parker. So make sure you guys have subscribed to the channel, make sure that you like this video, and with that being said, let's dive into this breakdown. Alright gang, so we're picking up where Peter Parker and Venom are together. They're not bonding, they're keeping separate minds. But after seeing what's going down at that wrestling match in the arena, Eddie returning with the different variants of himself, other King in Blacks, other Eddie Brocks, Peter's gonna go see what he can do. Venom knows that there is trouble on the horizon, and Venom is letting Spider-Man know that what's going down is that the symbiotes are about to go to war, that them returning from the garden means that war is coming. Venom believes that Tyro and all the other Eddies are here to kill them, and Peter can't help but think just how weird this all is. But he knows it's the price he pays for hanging out with Venom, the price of being cool. Going on to say that there is nothing like being back in black. But this is when something happens with his spider sense. It just popped off, but he's not in danger. It was almost like an echo, like a memory, and he can't really decipher what this means just of yet. But we do know that his spider sense has been off lately, been pretty much completely useless, telling Venom that if you see somebody trying to kill us, give me a heads up. In that very moment, Spider-Man is attacked by Hobgoblin, trying to figure out if this is Roderick or Ned. The Hobgoblin wearing a mask, we see Venom reach out, pull the mask off, and it shows an innocent person saying that somebody took her into the dark, changed her. As she begs for help, the glider crashes into the side of a building, and as Peter goes falling from the sky, Venom does all that he can to wake him up, not giving up on him, trying to bring him back around. And in the last moments, Peter does come back around, just in the nick of time to save himself. And as he makes his landing, that is when the true Hobgoblin shows up. Peter wastes no time getting into this fight, being surrounded by minions, using mind control to do so. Spider-Man is against great odds, but Spidey knows that he's gotta focus all his attention on Hobgoblin himself. Now, while this fight continues on, Venom does let Peter know that he's getting reckless, that he's getting angry. He can feel it even outside of his mind. And Peter is angry because he's trying to save innocents while Hobgoblin is actively working against him. Venom reminding him that that is exactly what he is using against you. Your obsessive need to save everybody. That he wears his hope as much as Hobgoblin wears his fear. This is where Venom shows him the chains. Now, these chains are a relatively new thing for Venom. When Dylan first put on the Venom symbiote, this is where the chains came into play. Dylan kind of doing his own twist on things. But Venom reminds Spider-Man that after all these years, he's still thinking like a spider, like you're alone in your web. But right now, you're not alone. That they're back. They're together. This is when Hobgoblin drops a grenade on him, the flames hurting both Venom and Peter. But Peter takes those chains and he grabs the Hobgoblin, drags him down. And when Hobgoblin just drops an arsenal on Spidey, out of nowhere, he is shielded. This is where we have the arrival of Jackpot. Mary Jane recently getting powers that's essentially a slot machine. She rolls the slot machine, she gets a set of powers. Sometimes they can be just ridiculously OP, other times they can be completely pointless. Some of them even have the potential of killing her. But with her showing up as backup, Spidey and Mary Jane, they jump into the fight. With Mary Jane being here, Venom can sense that this is where Peter's sadness is coming from. The two of them are no longer together, but his passion, his love, that's still all very much there. And Venom says one of the saddest and sweetest things that he's ever said to Peter, that this is the source of your sadness. But if you're out here saving the world, saving the city, whatever it might be that day, who saves you, Peter Parker? Who keeps you safe? This is where we pick up at Alchemax with Meridius. Meridius seems to believe that this is all predictable, that he knew Venom was going to go back to Peter. Now, Meridius says that he always thought that he was the dumb one, but as it stands, Meridius sees himself as winning, as outthinking him, as outplaying him, even outmaneuvering Spider-Man. But he has been waiting patiently through the entire history of this planet to bring chaos that he's going to unleash tonight. And so while Mary Jane and Peter are battling against Hobgoblin, this is when a giant spider Cthulhu-looking monster shows up. It calls itself Arachniote. As Spider-Man and Jackpot look up at this giant creature, Venom says that this should be impossible. He thought that these were only of legend. He calls it the mind who consumes all it encounters. Nothing has ever survived its touch. It was feared even by Null. And so if they're gonna have a chance in hell against this beast, he can't just be a costume. Peter must be his host. The bond remade. Their minds one once again. They must be together. They must be Venom. And that will be the end of this issue. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Off to a fantastic start. Now, this appears to be taking place prior to everything that happened in the issue number 1 Venom War, prior to Peter showing up at the wrestling match, which means when Peter shows up, him and Venom are probably bonded together. It'll be interesting to see how long this lasts and what it's going to mean moving forward. Now, we can only assume that Eddie is going to try to do everything he can to pry Venom off of Peter Parker. And so we'll see something in the likes of all the Eddie Brocks versus Dylan versus Spider-Man. Dylan possibly wanting to team up with Spider-Man, but we're going to see how that unfolds. The next issue of Venom goes into detail about kind of the future that Dylan Brock has been in, the old version of him. But we're going to see this story truly unfold. They're going to dive deep into it, and I'm really excited to see what they have to offer us, how this is all going to end, and what it means for the King in Black. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your theories. If you want to get caught up on everything that is going on with the Venom series, check out the link in my description as well as the top of the video. It'll get you caught up on everything currently going on with the Venom lines. If you would like to support the channel, you can always do so by joining the channel membership. Much like Patreon, having multiple multiple different tiers, from $1 to $50, from loyalty badges to comics every single month. Not only are you getting tons of perks in the process, but you're also helping out the channel tremendously. If you're unable to do this, please do me the favor, like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, and with that being said, until the next breakdown.